Alright, that was the partner functions. Let's move on to the next set of fields. This one is called the requested delivery date. Okay, where is this field? It's in the sales order header, and if you go to the sales tab, you'll get that function. Let me just log in again. Looks like I've timed out. Okay, VA03, let's say. Let me open that same transaction and I'll show you where the requested delivery date is. Okay, here is your requested delivery date. What is the requested delivery date? It's the date when the customer requested the delivery to happen. Sometimes the system just defaults it to a certain date. I'll tell you the reason why, and I'll tell you why that date was picked and where is the configuration for it. But functionally, this is supposed to be the date on which the customer has entered or has asked the goods to be delivered. Okay, and this date will be kept as the basis for which you do all your subsequent transactions related to that particular order. Like, how do you plan for the delivery? Okay, if the customer wants goods to be received by the 13th of May or 15th of May, then how do you plan for it, right? For example, if you look at this as a timeline, this is May 15th, which is the requested delivery date. How do you plan for it? By May 10th, maybe you need to transport the goods and load the goods. Maybe by the 9th, you need to make sure your picking is done. Maybe by the 8th, you need to make sure that your delivery is created. Maybe by 7th, you got to make sure that your goods are available. Okay, so it plans and backtracks like this, and in order to do this kind of a computation, which is called delivery scheduling and transportation scheduling, which is a topic for another day, the requested delivery date is generally the target date. Okay, and it's the basis for determining delivery scheduling, MRP scheduling, so on. Next, we have the complete delivery flag, which we have seen already as part of the customer master. The complete delivery flag is going to identify whether this customer requires the order to be delivered in full, meaning no partial breakups, for this transaction. Okay, so generally, if the customer master contains the complete delivery flag checked on in the master data VD01, 02, 03, now when you create a transaction using VA01 for this customer, automatically this flag will come and sit in this flag. So that means the customer preferences are carried over to the transaction level. Okay, now you can always go and change it, meaning, yeah, this is generally the customer's preference, complete delivery, but this time he's okay to relent. So if it is checked on, you can just go and remove it. Okay, so at the transaction level, you can change the customer's preferences to whatever you like, maybe yes or make it no. And you know what happens if you say yes, and you know what happens if you say no. Complete delivery, make sure that the system doesn't break it up into partial deliveries, and if you don't set it to complete delivery, where possible, the system will try to deliver whatever is available first and then ship the rest of the goods later. Right, this we have discussed as part of the customer master class. Delivery block. What is a delivery block? An order is blocked for delivery, and then see what happens. Okay, now let me change this transaction, and then oops, I'm trying to reprocess this order, is it? or let me create another order, OR 10 00 1000. Enter. Enter your materials, let's say MO1, and some PO number. Click on save, and then the document says some data is incomplete, so it just pops out this message, and you can just try and save it here, but our intent is to create a delivery, right? So let's go to edit and then see what's missing here. The missing data here is the contact persons. So click on complete delivery, complete data. If it doesn't show you where you need to fill it up, generally it will try and highlight where you can fill it up. For example, order reason is missing, so it will just go and highlight that field. But sometimes it doesn't, so you just have to go inside, click on the partner functions, and then enter some partner functions here. Okay, now this data is complete. I can save this transaction. The order number 14254 has been saved. Now let me go to change mode for that transaction and then try to deliver it. I go to sales document, deliver, and then the system, if everything is right, should be able to create a delivery off of this order. Let's try to create the delivery, and here is our delivery number. Now you can do picking, packing, blah blah blah, but our intent is to test the delivery block, meaning if there is a delivery block at the transaction level, you will not be able to create a delivery. So how do you test it? I don't want to save this delivery, so I'm going back, and the system is asking me, do you want to save your data? I'm going to click no. I'm going to take you back to the order and then try to place a block, which is a delivery block, on that order. Let's say export papers missing. Let's say it's an export order. Now let's try and deliver this order by clicking on sales document, deliver. Look at the message. It says sales order is blocked for delivery because, and then it explicitly mentions the reason. This is called as a delivery block. Alright, and the purpose of a delivery block is to block a delivery from happening. Generally, when do you block deliveries? Functionally, what are the reasons? We know how it works now, but why would you want to block a delivery? These are some of the reasons, like customer didn't pay up. He's placing orders, but he's not paying for his transactions. You should block the delivery from happening, because once the goods leave your warehouse, then it's as good as gone if a customer doesn't pay up, right? Political reasons. Example, suddenly there is a crisis in the Middle East. You no longer want to sell to a country in the Middle East, let's say Syria. Or suddenly there is political unrest in Egypt. So you don't want to sell, you don't want to put a block because the reasons are political. So until the situation is resolved, you really don't want to deliver anything to that customer, right? Bottleneck material, export papers missing. There could be n number of business reasons why you want to block a delivery from happening. And these blocks are freely deliverable, meaning you can just go create your own delivery blocks the way you like it, which really happens in most of the cases. When you go to a brand new system, you'll not have any of this. The only reason why these exist is because it's an IDES system, and we have seen what an IDES system is, right? So because it's an IDES system, this ton of data exists for you to play with, but in a real system that you start with to implement from scratch, you wouldn't have any of these data in the billing blocks. So you would have to, or delivery blocks, you would have to create them on your own. And in order to do that, you'll have to go to SPRO, IMG, so on and so forth, which we're not going to touch at this point because it's going to take the focus away. but what you have to take away from here is that these blocks are freely definable, meaning you can create your own blocks. Alright, next is a billing block. Now a billing block stops billing from happening. So your order is created, let's say there is no delivery blocks, and your delivery is created. Now what? You need to bill the customer. Sometimes you might want to place a billing block so that you can't really bill your customer. How do you do it? It's really simple. Let's say you go all the way back to the sales order, open it, and then remove the delivery block, because we want to deliver it now, but we want to test the billing block functionality. So let's place a billing block here and then try to do this delivery, finish it up, and then try to create a billing document. So I'm doing a delivery now. Alright, so the steps here are not the focus. I'm just going to finish the delivery, and I'm going to stop at the point where I'm going to do billing, and then show you what happens when you try to do billing for this order, and when there is a billing block, how should the system react. Okay, I'm just trying to create a transfer order here for the delivery that we just picked up, and once it's done, our picking in that delivery should be completed, and this should be pretty obvious to you at this point. But if for some reason you're not comfortable with this, that's fine. Don't worry about it. So I'm doing a post goods issue, and it says this item requires a serial number. So I'm going to go to 10, click on extras, serial numbers, create serial number automatically, click, and then post goods issue. This is something that we have seen in the previous class when we said, when we have done a hands-on of the sales order cycle, like creation of inquiries, orders, quotations, contracts, so on and so forth. I'm just doing a post goods issue, and then the delivery is created. Now how do I create a billing document? Go to VF01, your last created delivery number will be available here, and then click OK. Okay, it says not processed, and it says no billing document generated, see the log. What could probably be the reason? How do you see the log? Go to edit, log, and then you see the billing document, the document sales order 14254 is blocked for billing because you have placed a billing block. Okay, so this is the effect of a billing block on the transaction. Now why would you want to place a billing block? What are the reasons that you would want to place a billing block for? In general, you would place a billing block to make sure that you would not bill this customer before ensuring that certain things are in place. For example, you are buying computers from your neighborhood store or some online store. They send you the goods and then invoice you, and then you pay that invoice. Let's say that's the procedure. But a couple of times, maybe in the last couple of months, you did get the invoice, but you did not get the goods anytime soon. So there were some delays in the deliveries, and invoices were being sent for which you were asked to pay, but the goods did not get shipped to you yet. And you don't like that, right? You want to see the goods first, and then start looking at your invoices for payments. And you're saying, hey, you know what? Don't invoice me until you send me the goods. Now, how is that your vendor who is implementing SAP and a sales order transaction going to do that systematically? The first thing that he's going to do is, whenever you place an order to your vendor, he's going to put that order on a billing block, right? So here is our order. Here is you placing an order to HP, let's say, or whoever. HP is creating an order using VA01. and you said do not bill me until I receive the goods. So HP will deliver the goods, okay, and then bill the goods. But before billing, they will ensure that this delivery has really reached you. So what they'll do is put a billing block here, and then they'll create the delivery, after which billing is supposed to happen but will not happen because there is this billing block, and then they'll wait for a couple of days until this delivery reaches you, and after that they'll remove the billing block manually. So they'll remove this billing block if at all there were any, and subsequently the billing will automatically happen via the batch process. We'll talk about these batch processes, but you understand the sense, right? There is this delivery and then billing will happen only if there is no billing block. That's one scenario. There are more scenarios like that. There are scenarios where billing blocks would happen, or billing blocks would be placed because you want to check a really big order, like $1 million order. It's a big order, $1 million or $5 million order for, let's say, a big power plant transformer. It's really expensive, and it's, let's say, $5 million. And when you want to bill that to your customer, say here is the invoice for $5 million, you really want to be damn sure with the taxes, with the prices, with the discounts, so on and so forth, because even a 0.1% variation in tax is going to be a big amount, right? So in such cases where there are high value items or high value orders, there will be somebody in the accounting department who will always place every order on a billing block and will not invoice the customer until they ensure or maybe double check and make sure that everything is all right, then remove the billing block so that billing can be generated for that order. Okay, moving on. Pricing date. Now we have seen creation date. Where is the creation date? Let's go to VA03 and I'll show you where the creation date is. Go to header. Okay, go to header, and this is the creation date. Okay, here is a little caveat that you might want to know. If I go to the display mode and go to the header, you'll see that the creation date is actually grayed out, right? I cannot change this 9/5/2012 to anything else. It's grayed out, but the pricing date is changeable, meaning I can change it from 9/5 to 10/5. Alright, same with the PO date. I can change it from 9/5 to 16/5, or I can change it from 9/5 to 2/5. Right, so we have creation date, which is unchangeable, it's set in stone, and then we have pricing date, PO date, document date, requested delivery date, many different dates. Most of these dates are changeable except for the creation date. Now we know why and how a PO date is used. And let's talk about the pricing date. What is a pricing date? This is also used very similarly to how we have used the PO date, but with a slight difference. The pricing date determines what is the date on which the pricing has to be taken. Again, let's split up our dates into 2 quarters. Let's say the Walmart has placed an order to us on June 30. Let's say the price on June 30 for a product of HP 1020 is $575. Okay, but if you create the order on July 1st and let's say the price for that material is jacked up to $595, the customer is going to see this price, whereas he was expecting a price of 575 because we said that, you know what, until July 30 this is our price list. Now Walmart is not going to be happy with that price, right? He's going to say, you know what, I placed an order on July 30th and I think I'm supposed to get 575 as the price. Well, how do you change it? You change the pricing date from July 1st to June 30th. As simple as that. And the system will automatically pick up the price that was created or that is applicable on June 30th. Alright? That's pricing date. The same thing happens with future dating. Let's say the price is 575, but as of July 1st, the price was dropped to 555. Okay. Now Walmart might ask you for a concession. Being a customer, they'll say, hey, you know what? Can you give me this price? And I'm going to give you this order right now. And you might be, or your sales employee from HP will be very much tempted to take that, because by this quarter end, this order on June 30, if it's a big one, will increase his or her sales target for that quarter. So he's going to take this order on this quarter and then probably give him July 1st's price by changing or future dating this pricing to July 1st. Okay, that's the significance of pricing date. Once again, pricing date, make sure that whatever be the date of pricing is the date on which pricing that was maintained for that product is picked up. Example, a product would have one price until the 30th of June and the price could change after the 30th of June, let's say starting July 1st. So if you want to give a previous price, you can just backdate it to July 30th or any date before that. Or if you want to give a price after July 1st, you can change the pricing date from the past on to July 1st or any date beyond that. Alright, next is international commerce terms. What are INCO terms? International commerce terms, or INCO terms as it's called, right? INCO stands for International Commerce Terms. So there is a general standards body which defines these terms, and the terms are defined in two parts. First part, or it's called INCO 1, is a 3-character or a 2-character ID that's set in stone. Maybe it's called CFR, CIF, CIP, carriage and insurance paid, carriage, insurance and freight for free, right? FOB, free on board, XWorks, EXW, meaning the customer will come and pick up from the plant. So these are all the different types of logistics that are mutually agreed upon. So if you as HP promises an order as FOB, that means that you're going to ship the goods free of cost, and that's agreed upon. Okay, so there's no argument over what FOB is, because there is a strict definition to what FOB is, and that's defined by an international body, like I said. Okay, now FOB until what point? Is it going to be, let's say I'm shipping computers from San Francisco down to Brazil. It's an international order, or it could be a domestic order, say until New York. Okay, I said FOB, but until what point? Is it going to be to your doorstep? Is it going to be to your warehouse, or is it going to be to our distribution center in the East Coast? And that is described by this part, which is INCO 2, or part 2 of the INCO terms. So INCO terms define how the logistics happens, especially freight and shipping terms. Now there is another part to it which is called the title transfer, which says where exactly the transfer of the title is happening, meaning where exactly is the change of ownership happening. So if there is some goods that HP is shipping to Walmart New York, and let's say it says FOB until New York, that means that HP or its logistics provider, let's say UPS or USPS, they are responsible if any damage happens to these goods. So the change of ownership is only happening at New York, with maybe it's a docking station, or maybe it's the port, or maybe it's their warehouse. That's exactly where the change of ownership is happening. So until that point, HP or the logistics provider owns the goods, and they are responsible if something goes bad. Okay, but after the goods have been received in the warehouse, it's the responsibility of Walmart. Okay, so Incoterms defines the title transfer as well. Okay, next is payment terms. What is a payment term? A payment term defines how you get paid, or how is the customer going to pay you. It's pretty simple actually.